A few years ago, I met a man, wrinkled shirt, beaten up car, an apartment too small for his family. But he had something in his eyes. Someone made a choice that most people don't. 5 years later, this man runs a 7-figure business. And when I asked him, "Did you know you were going to succeed?" he replied, "I didn't know. But the signs were there. I just didn't see them yet. Tonight, I'm going to show you those 7 signs. And I'm warning you, some of them will surprise you. Because they aren't the ones you were taught in school. They aren't the ones society celebrates. But if you recognize yourself in even 3 of them, you're probably much closer to financial freedom than you think. But first, we need to talk about something that was planted in your head without your permission. Since you were little, you've been told, through words, through behavior, through the examples around you, that money is complicated, that wealth is for other people, that if you work hard, you'll just have enough. Money doesn't buy happiness. We're not Rockefellers. Be reasonable. You've heard these phrases dozens of times. And the problem isn't that you heard them. The problem is that you believe them. That's what we call a mental glass ceiling, an invisible limit you impose on yourself without even realizing it. You censor yourself before you even try. You downplay your ideas. You wait for someone else's permission to move forward. And meanwhile, people with fewer degrees than you, less talent than you, fewer resources than you, are building their freedom, peace of mind, without asking your permission. The difference between them and you isn't IQ. It isn't luck. It's that they've learned to read the right signs. So let's stop playing this game. Here are the 7 signs that you're going to become rich. Sign number 1, you're dissatisfied. Chronically. I know, society has told you that dissatisfaction is a problem, that you have to be content with what you have. And yes, gratitude is valuable. We'll talk about that. But there's a huge difference between gratitude and resignation. People who are going to become rich are never truly satisfied. Not because they're unhappy, but because they always see how to do better. They look at a process and think, this can be optimized. They have an experience and think, something's missing. They have a conversation and think, this problem doesn't have a real solution yet. This creative dissatisfaction, that's the fuel. The problem, most people drown this dissatisfaction in distractions. Social media, TV shows, constant comparison. They smother the flame instead of guiding it. The solution, take a notebook. Write every time something irritates you, frustrates you, or seems off. You're mapping out your future empire. Every frustration is an opportunity in disguise. Sign number 2, you read, or you're constantly seeking to learn. The statistics are undeniable. 80% of millionaires read for at least 30 minutes a day. Not novels, not news, books on growth, finance, psychology, leadership. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Elon Musk learned space engineering from books. You, on the other hand, might watch videos like this one. You might listen to podcasts. You might be searching for answers. That's the sign. The problem, consuming content without taking action, is an intellectual drug. It gives the impression of progress without actually moving forward. It's called pseudo-learning. You feel smart, but you're not building anything. The solution, the 1 to 10 rule. For every hour of learning, 10 minutes of concrete action. A grade applied, an email sent, a project started. Information without action is accumulation. Information with action is transformation. Sign number 3, money makes you uncomfortable. Wait, don't change the channel just yet. I'm not talking about the miser who counts every penny. I'm talking about someone who, when they think about making a lot of money, feels a slight discomfort, guilt. A voice that says, this is too much. Who do you think you are? If that's you, then you have a conscience. And a conscience is the foundation of any lasting empire. People who become permanently wealthy aren't those who only think about money. They're those who think about what money can do for others. That discomfort you feel is your value system kicking in. The problem, this discomfort often becomes a wall. We unconsciously tell ourselves, rich equals bad person, so we sabotage our own opportunities by refusing promotions, by undervaluing our services, by never asking. The solution, redefine money. Money is a tool for freedom and impact. Ask yourself, if I had 10 times more income, what good would I do in the world? Write down the answer. Anchor it in your mind. You've just turned guilt into a mission. Sign number 4, you failed before and you didn't stop. That's something no one really tells you. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the path to success. Every successful entrepreneur I've studied has a list of failures that would scare anyone. Projects evaluated, partners who left, savings lost, months when they didn't know if they could keep going, and they kept going anyway. If you've tried something, a project, an idea, a difficult conversation, and failed, and you're still here standing there searching, then you possess something rare: active resilience. The problem: our brains are wired to avoid pain. After a failure, they construct protective narratives. It wasn't meant for me, I was unlucky, other people had advantages. These narratives protect us in the short term, they paralyze us in the long term. The solution: practice radical post-mortem. After each failure, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I learn? What will I do differently? How does this failure bring me closer to my goal? Failure becomes data. Data becomes strategic. Sign number 5. You think in terms of value, not price. Here's a simple test. When you see something expensive, do you ask yourself, that's too expensive? Or do you ask yourself, what's it worth exactly? There's a huge difference between these 2 questions. The first is a reaction. The second is investor thinking. People who are going to become wealthy don't see the world in terms of price. They see it in terms of value, leverage, and return on investment. They spend 500 euros on training because they see the 5,000 euros it can generate. They take the time to build relationships because they see the long-term value. The problem, the scarcity mindset, I can't afford it, is a mental prison. It makes you avoid the very things that would allow you to escape that scarcity. It's a cruelly logical paradox. The solution: start calculating the emotional and financial ROI of your decisions. Before every purchase or refusal, ask yourself, in 5 years, will this decision have brought me closer to or further from my freedom? Think like an investor, even with 50 euros. Sign number 6. You fiercely protect your energy and your time. Here's the brutal truth about money. Money regenerates, time doesn't. People who are going to become rich have a relationship with time that bothers ordinary people. They don't say yes to outings. They don't reply to every message. They keep blocks of time protected. They refuse opportunities that don't align with their direction, and the people around them think they're cold, distant, selfish. In reality, they're just disciplined. The problem: energy drain doesn't always come from enemies. It often comes from those close to you. The exhausting conversations, the pointless drama, the people who ask for your time without ever giving you any energy in return. And because you love them, you accept it. The solution: do a 7-day time audit. Note each activity and comment on how it made you feel afterward. Energy gained or energy wasted? Then start making choices. Slowly, firmly. Your time is your greatest asset. Treat it like it. Sign number 7. You feel you have a mission, even if you don't yet know what it is. It's the sign no one mentions, because it's hard to measure. But if you're honest with yourself, you know what I'm talking about. There's something inside you that tells you you're not here for an ordinary life. Not out of arrogance, not because you think you're superior, but because you feel something, a conviction, a direction, an inner voice that whispers, even in the darkest moments, that it's not over, that this isn't your end. That feeling, it doesn't lie. Great fortunes, great works, great impacts, they all stem from this silent conviction that something is possible, that you are capable, that the world needs what you, specifically you, can create. The problem: society calls this feeling arrogance. Your loved ones sometimes call it dreaming, and you, in your moments of doubt, call it madness. The solution: stop seeking validation from the outside. Start cultivating certainty within. Meditate on this question every morning. If I couldn't fail, what would I build? The answer that always comes back: it's your mission. Follow it. So here are the 7 signs. 1. You're dissatisfied because you're thinking bigger. 2. You're constantly learning because you're preparing. 3. Money makes you uncomfortable because you have values. 4. You've failed and you haven't given up because you have resilience. 5. You think in terms of value, not price, because you think like a builder. 6. You protect your time because you know what really matters. 7. You feel a sense of mission because you're here for a reason. These aren't coincidences, they're signs, and if you saw them in yourself today, then let me tell you something few people will. You're not late, you're getting ready. Now I have a question for you. How many of these 7 signs did you recognize in yourself? Tell me in the comments. Just one number. 1, 2, 3, 7. Because I read all the comments and I want to see where you stand. And if you want to go further, if you want to understand how to reprogram the limiting beliefs that are preventing you from taking action, I've prepared something for you. It's a video I wish I'd seen 5 years ago. It's called The 3 Mental Blocks That Sabotage Your Financial Success and How to Eliminate Them Permanently. It's in the description. It's free, and it might change the way you see yourself. Because at Mental Upgrade, we don't just talk about success. We rebuild the brains that will create it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and come back next week, because the next video is going to be even more intense than this one. See you soon.